You could probably see like there's playlists at the top of my account, and one of them is called Work From Home. It's WFH. And then I also have, if you go to my liked folders, there's also a Work From Home folder for videos from other people. And all that it's saying is like all of the steps that I'm going to kind of rush through here. So if you want to go a little bit more information, I'll go into that in those videos. So I usually send that ahead of setting up the time for the meeting so people have a chance to review it and ask questions. But your time is better spent networking than it is actually applying to jobs. And so people who are neurodivergent don't get instructions, and then we never learn. So we all know that autistic people only have like 4% of autistic people are employed, and we're like 20% of the population. So it's ridiculous. What you want to do is have a LinkedIn account. This is going to be the easiest way for you to find work. The first thing you want to do for your LinkedIn account is you can create your account. If you already have an account, you want to optimize it. To know how to optimize it, you first need to start in jobs and like find the job that sounds like something that you're relatively interested in doing, right? So like if you have job title names or you're struggling to find job title names, you can Google search like jobs for graphic designers or jobs for 3D artists or jobs for insert whatever, and then write down a bunch of like terms or titles that match that job description. Then you start looking for that. So does anyone want to suggest one that we can use here? Awesome. Virtual assistant. Okay. So as you can see, 61,000 results. So now I want to do remote only. Brings it down to 30K. Still a lot of jobs, right? And there's a lot of filters here that you can go through. Depending on how quickly you're looking for it, what you're looking for, like, I could say part-time or contract, whatever. Easy apply. Sometimes I use that, sometimes I don't, because that just means it'll apply with you to the job for you using the automated system based on your LinkedIn account. If too many people do that, not note your accounts, your resume is not going to be seen. That's why I say like the goal isn't to apply to a bunch of jobs. The goal is to network, find the connection, talk to that person. And then when you have that connection, then they tell you, okay, I think you're a good fit. You should apply for this job. Then your resume actually gets read. That's the true goal. That's the long and short of it, right? The TLDR. You want to make the connection first, then apply. This doesn't mean you don't apply to jobs if you want to, but this is going to get you better results than doing it the old-fashioned way, which is just throwing the spaghetti at the wall, right? Sometimes if you're in a hurry, you can do the under 10 applicants, and that gives you like a good sense of like, these are jobs that a lot of people haven't had. So if you're going to do the easy apply button or apply to them directly, if they have under 10 applicants, you're higher chance of being seen. So, but it does limit your pool, right? And then you can pick salary if you want. One thing I do say to most people is don't even do the interview until you know what that job is paying. So if they don't already share it on here, bad on them, red flag, right? But if you get in contact with somebody, the magical words to use is, what is the budget for this role? 9 times out of 10, they were going to tell you the budget for the role. So you don't have to do this back and forth guessing game, because if you give them a number and it's way lower than what they were having for the role, then they're going to take you because they're obviously saving money. But a recruiter's job is they don't get paid until the job gets filled. So they're motivated to fill that role. They have no skin in the game about how much you get paid. So if you have a good recruiter, they're going to work for you to get you more money. If you have a shitty recruiter, they're like, I don't care, you got hired, I get paid, right? So don't limit yourself by telling them the number first. You're always going to want to ask them, what's the budget for this role, before you even set up an interview. Now, this is a luxury because some people are desperate and need to get jobs now, right? So you just like, I'll take anything, really give me anything. But if you have the time and you can do this, do that. And if you're doing this consistently, you're going to have recruiters reaching out to you. After a month, you'll have recruiters reaching out to you every day. So let me continue with this process. So you're going to pick remote and flexible schedule executive assistant. Okay, let's say I picked this one. It has a job description. It talks about the business like most places do, right? So $24 to $28 an hour, that's about what you expect to be paid for this. So what I would do, like, let's say I want to apply to this job. First of all, I'm going to take the job description and use as many keywords as I can and go back to, I'm going to open a new tab and go back to my profile. No, it's going to open the image as a new tab. Here we go. I'm going to go back to my profile, and this is what I mean by optimizing your profile. You want to make your profile match as closely as possible to the job that you're trying to get. Not the job that you have experience in, but the job that you want to get. And as far as like what the qualifications are, you can basically ignore them. They put like so many requirements that nobody would ever qualify for that job. So just fucking ignore them. Here in this section, you're going to want to put the job you want and the major skill sets that you have. So as a virtual assistant, you would be doing executive assistant, calendar management, advanced knowledge of software, and works well under pressure or something like that, right? Or results oriented, whatever you want, like the keywords that are in this job description. And if there's like hard skills too, like the specific software that the job is asking for, like Office 360, that's kind of a given. But because it's a virtual assistant job, you might want to call that out in your profile, just depends, right? And I think that it's like 2 lines, maybe 3. So whatever you can, like your biggest sellers there. The next thing you want to do is spend some time. Well, we're going to focus on this first. So I'm going to kind of go all over the place. In your about section, this is where you're selling yourself. And this is where you can use ChatGPT to help you write this for you. And then you just tweak it to make it fit for you. If for whoever's not familiar, ChatGPT is a online AI free program. It's free for now, where you can put in a prompt and it will give you language based on information from the internet. It is not always reliable information, so you have to double check it if you're looking for something that's not familiar to you, but you could definitely use it to write your resume. You can copy and paste your resume, or you can have no resume and say, write me a resume for a virtual assistant, and it will write you a resume. And then you can use that information and then merge it to your knowledge and specifics, and then boom, you have a really well fleshed out resume. Same thing with job. Now take this resume and like the one that you've made that's perfect to you, and then say, now take this resume and make a resume summary for me, and then tweak it, edit it to make it sound like you, and then you have your about section. So amazing tool for accessibility to make things quicker and faster, right? And it's still your writing because you're going to edit it. You're not going to just copy and paste. You can, but it won't sound like you. For your job roles, this is not a copy of your resume. This is a high level bullet points, like, okay, when someone goes here, what did Jasenia do at Blue Cross? She did this. And most of the time you only see 2 lines before it's the see more. You can put more, but the most important stuff needs to be in the first 2 lines. So that people can kind of glance through and see your work history and be like, oh, okay, Jasenia has this, this, and this. And then you can add skills to each of those that each of your job. And this is where you're going to put like specific to that role skills that you have. And it's a big old box that you can fill up, like check in when you're filling out this section for experience. And then there's more sections. The more you fill out, the better your account is going to be visible, especially the skill section. If you have skills that are like technical skills, like I know how to do Excel, so I took the Excel test, and that should pop up here in your skills section. So Microsoft Excel passed LinkedIn skill assessment. So you get that little badge, right? If you can pass the skill set. If you don't pass, it doesn't show up that you failed. So you can take it a bunch of times. You can watch YouTube videos on how to take those tests too, if you need to. So one of the main things that people are looking for when they're looking at your profile, besides your work history and if your skills match, is your activity. This is how people get to know your sense of you, like get a sense of who you are. The culture at LinkedIn is I want to connect to people. So you can connect to complete strangers. It's not Facebook. And I'll explain that in a second, how that works. But for people to see you as somebody who has like, not clout's not the right word, but activity. They want to see that you have activity. This followers thing, that's just because I'm a content creator on LinkedIn. You don't have to have that. But if you go through and spend maybe an hour a week, not even, maybe 15 minutes a week, and just start following some hashtags, and then you can scroll through your feed and just like and occasionally comment on things that you actually care about. People will start, you will have like a history of online history that an employer can see to get a sense of who you are. So that way they're not like trying to stalk your Facebook page and like the horrors of being on social media and having your future employers see your shit. I keep all my stuff basically private or like with no attachment to my name. So like my TikTok points to my LinkedIn, but my LinkedIn does never point to my TikTok. I don't want them finding my TikTok, So anyway, the thing is that this is how I show who I am to future employers. So just wanted to point that out. So going back to the job search, you found a bunch of jobs you want to apply to. Now let's try to apply to them. So this company is called Boldly Remote Staffing. I don't like applying to staffing organizations, but with virtual assistant, it kind of is probably a good solution. But for this sake, I'm going to say I want to apply to, this is a sales and marketing job, which I mean, you could apply to this Tonk and get it, but it's probably not, it's probably going to be a full-time job. So that's not quite what you want. Okay, let's say this one, talent pair. This looks like a service too. Okay, let's just assume we're going to have to apply to remote bodily, whatever. So now here's another trick. I always, rather than go open it here, I open in a new tab because then you can't come back and find, oh crap, I can't find this job post, blah. So I open a new tab. So now you're going to the company's page. 2 places you want to look are people and jobs and posts, actually 3 places. So you already kind of found the jobs. You can see like what other jobs are they offering, see all jobs. You can see what other jobs they're offering, and that might apply to you too. Where I start is in the people section, and I'll go through and read all of the people who have put that they work at this company here and see if any of these job roles match a recruiter. reach out to Crystal. So here's what you're going to do. Well, did it click? Okay, here's Crystal. So Crystal is an onboarding manager at the staffing agency. So you're going to click more, you're going to click connect, and then you're going to add a note. And this is where the magic happens. You're not going to connect to this person and say, I am so-and-so. You don't say anything about yourself other than I'm interested, because they can go to your LinkedIn for that. So I'm going to go back here and I want to open just this job so that I can get the link to this job post. Executive assistant. Okay, so I'm going to control copy. Actually, I don't need to do that. That's for future, but it's an executive assistant. So when I go over here, I'm going to say something like, there's more language you can use too. I'm kind of blanking on it right now, honestly, so sorry. But that is something that you can add. You have 300 characters. That's only half of it. So you can add. Another thing that you want to do, people are open to connections on LinkedIn, but you want to keep it short and to the point, right? So I'm asking the question and then I'm saying, I appreciate any information you can share with me. And that's it, you're done. And so now I can't spell appreciate, so that's wrong anyway. So when you hit send, even if they don't want to connect with you, they're still going to see the message, and they may or may not connect with you, but they may reply. So here's another thing that you want to do is, you're going to do this a lot. You're going to send a lot of messages. You only need 1 or 2 people to reply. So the shorter the ask, the easier the ask is, the higher likelihood that people are going to respond to that ask. Usually what I'm doing is asking for connection to that role. So here's an example of where I did that just last week. I found a role that I was interested in, and I found the person that just like we showed you here. And I said, hi, I'm interested in applying for the DEI employee management role. Would you be the right person to ask about this role? If not, could you connect me to the right person? Super easy, straight to the point. They replied, awesome, yes, reach out to this person. They're the recruiter for that role. Best of luck. Boom, you have a connection now. So I reached out to that person, still haven't heard back yet, but they might not be checking their whatever, it's okay. So many people get these, like, especially if you're a recruiter, you get a ton of messages a day. So you just kind of keep going. You send your message and you keep pushing. I like to have like a spreadsheet to keep track of the links of these so that when they reach out to you again, you can say like, I reached out to so-and-so for this role, and then you have the link. So if they ever do come back to you, you're not like, oh shit, what job was that again? Because you're doing this so much, you can lose track of what your jobs that you're applying to. But in the end, you're going to get to a point where people are going to be reaching out to you. So just last week, this guy reached out to me, and they're sending you jobs. They may or may not apply to what you want, but once you have your LinkedIn optimized, they are going to find you in their searches with their algorithms and then start sending you jobs. So this is one example of what that happened. They sent me a job description, dates, information, all kinds of stuff. Here's my reply. Thank you for reaching out. What's the budget for this role? I'm not wasting my time. I need to know if this is worth my time with the money. Client budget, 85 to 100K, not worth my time. Well, that's below my budget, but I can share with my network if you'd like. And there you go. Now you still have this connection with you. They're happy that you're willing to share the connection. And if in the future this person has a role that does fit for me, I can reach out back to them. So, no bridges burned, but I will, and this happens a lot. Once you start getting using LinkedIn more and more, you're going to find roles. There's something called the STAR method for writing like the text for your resume. So part of what you want to do is, that is one method. It's a very useful method because it gives like concrete examples and results rather than just like all the fluff words that we're used to in corporate America. So now that people are moving more to the data centric side, it helps, especially if you don't have any data to actually show. Like my last job was a very data heavy job, but they didn't actually track my data. So I had no data to show for it. And that's when I found out about the STAR method. And so it's basically situation, task, action, result. And that's how you want to like model, like, what was the situation? My last job, this was the situation or the problem. This was the task. What was the thing that you were trying to accomplish? The actions that you took to get to that solution and the results of your actions. And that is like this, it's a super easy formula. It makes you sound like you're very organized, and it gets clearly explains your job without you having to try to figure out how to sell yourself. So this is too like pretty for me. Like I like more basic resume, but since I paid for it, I just went ahead with it. I didn't change it. But essentially, it's like your little sentence at the top. This is the same as the one that I have on my LinkedIn profile. Then my skills, like rather than it be a list of skills, although that is here, I have like bullets. One of these, I think one of these is from a manager review. So if you have like annual reviews from a past job, or feedback from a customer or something like that, you can throw that in here too. And this is kind of just like the thing about resumes is that people read them really fast. So you want to try to keep, like, I don't like how this is set up. So I already told you, like, this is not my favorite, but this is what got me my last job. So visual data analyst. Oh, okay, interesting. Anyway, job title, company, years being there, location, and location just has to be city, state. You don't have to put your address. Also at the top, first name, last name, phone number, email, LinkedIn, hyperlink, and city, state, not your full address. Don't give them a bunch of personal information up front. And then, like, again, I wouldn't do this, but this would be like 2 sentences about the job and then everything else in bullets using the STAR method. 1 or 2 examples, 3, depending on what you want. In general, you kind of want your resume to be 2 pages. It can be more than 2, it doesn't have to be, but essentially you want your skills at the top, then your work experience, then your education, and then any other like certifications and awards or, you know, examples of whatever you're doing, depending on what your kind of job is. So I'm happy to share this with anybody who wants it. Again, it's not my favorite, but it's something to start with if you have nothing, or you can steal whatever you want from this that works for you and make it your own, you know. Another couple of tricks that you can try. Let me go back to the LinkedIn homepage. So another thing that you can do is say virtual assistant. You see how it says in jobs? Now, I don't want to look in jobs because that's where everybody's looking. I want to look in posts. A lot of recruiters have their own LinkedIn account and they're constantly posting jobs. So you want to find in posts where somebody's like, I need a virtual assistant, looking for recommendations for virtual assistant, remote job alert, move forward as a virtual assistant. Boom, here's one. Virtual assistant. Oh, you post things on LinkedIn, which I advise you to do if you're interested in that. Like if you want to sell yourself, you can do that by making posts on LinkedIn, and you can just talk about your skills. You can talk about your life experience. You could throw a random picture in there, draw your own picture, do whatever you want, right? But the key is whatever you're doing when you make a post, if you don't know what the post is about in the first 2 sentences, I'm not going to click here and open because I don't know what this is about. So you want to make sure that whatever your top 2 lines are, they're going to explain what you're reading before you click into it. Some of them, like these are like, okay, they gave this person 4 lines, but look how long this post is. Now you've already lost my interest. Like ADHD, come on. I try to keep my posts like that's about as long as I will read, but it's another, we are hiring recruiters, virtual assistants, media managers, da 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 da. So here we go. I want to go connect with this person. They're a founder of Prosperity Staffing Firm. So they're motivated they're starting their business. They want to do their recruiter. You want to reach out to them. So you'll just hit connect. Oh, it's not up, it's here. Sometimes it's in here. We have a mutual person. This is also a recruiter. I know that person by name. They're on TikTok. Madeline Machado is a recruiter on TikTok. So if you want to follow them, they have a lot of recruiting advice as well. In fact, I will share mine. And I also want to share that I have a Neurospicy networking group for everybody who's not familiar with it. It is a closed group. Anything you post here does not get shared to anyone. No one can see it unless you're part of this group. So you can, the goal of this group, where does it say it about this group? The goal of this group is for neurodivergent people to network, to learn how to do it safely. I say safely as in with other neurodivergent people, to promote and ask questions about jobs, networking, or anything related to trying to find work. The requirements that I do for when people ask to be part of this group is I'll check their profile out. If they don't have a picture, I ask them to put a picture on their profile and see what their activity is. So if they have no activity, I ask them, why do you want to be in this group? Because some people, they're brand new to LinkedIn or they've never used it before and now they're trying to get into it. So I'm not going to keep people from joining, but I also ask that the community tell me if somebody's being toxic. So far, I have seen 0 issues. Like people are posting things about, like this is a neurodiverse job board. People are posting, I'm looking for someone who has connections in the 3D art world. I'm autistic, self-diagnosed, and I need help with this. Oh, that's Quinn. Quinn's asking for survey stuff. Boom. Like you can put whatever you want in here. I'm constantly getting recruiters reaching out to me. So I post every single job that gets sent to me in this channel. And I encourage other people to post whatever they want. As long as it's regarding neurodiversity, it's free game. So it's still kind of like, people don't really know what the vibe is here. So not a lot of people are posting, but I'm hoping to have this kind of activity with these people, but LinkedIn isn't set up to be like as easy as it was to create this event and have people join, you know, so